Welcome back, Particle People, and today we're going to do something a little bit different, revisiting one of my biggest regrets here on YouTube. You see, a while ago I made a World of Warcraft series that I was very proud of, however I completely pulled the plug on it and then hid the evidence. I think this was a mistake in retrospect, and I want to bring it back. So, here are the remaining clips edited back together. Hopefully you like it. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Hello and welcome back. Today I'd like to tell you that I'm an idiot for a totally different reason, and that's because I'm hyper susceptible to ads. Advertisements work on me to a shameful degree. I'm practically a goldfish, or in this case maybe a sandfish. Which is why when my totally normal YouTube with regular suggestions had this advertisement for Ascension World of Warcraft, I had to download it. Now it does have pay-to-win-ish options that make your life either easier or better or more convenient, but we all know I like the challenge in the first place and I won't be paying for a thing. I'm a Mr. Krabs on the internet. We'll be making my character a skeleton because for the Horde until I die, but also its skin, complexion, and hair all match mine. Without further ado, we're in the world now, turning on hardcore mode with our goal of getting to max level without dying. Did I forget to mention that all of our abilities are random? You see this dice above my head? This is what I use in order to roll for my abilities throughout the game. I'm going to have 5 rerolls to start the game, so I can hopefully get a kit of 4 to begin and hopefully not get destroyed too early. This dice gives me so much anxiety, but luckily my first roll contained 2 very helpful abilities. The first one is an agility-based ability, which essentially is just a little quick strike you get to do with some melee weapons. And the second one, well, that one allows me to permanently capture and enslave a demon. It also conveniently starts me out with a little demon doggy, who is going to help me in my early adventure. The other 2 abilities are about as useful as I am when it comes to working on cars. Sorry, Dad, I just never really cared for the automotive trade. With that being said, I decided to lock in the 2 good abilities and re-roll the other 2 crud ones so I can hopefully not die so quick. The re-roll didn't really help that much, as they sucked even worse. This ability requires me to be a cat. The third re-roll gave me the ability to go into stealth, which I don't have any synergy for yet, but I can see it being useful in an area where I would die if detected. So this could help me get out of sticky situations, but it did raise a question. Does my demon give away my position to enemies? So I decided to go test it really quickly before moving on. That's when I found out that it doesn't give away my position, and this is going to be so helpful. With that little matter out of the way, I just had to do my last 2 rerolls. I got a lightning bolt, which I didn't want, and then finally I found another big old dagger strike, which is going to be so helpful. I'm officially an agility build, locking in agility. It's going to be great. In case you don't know, that means the agility stat's going to up my damage potential as well as my critical potential. It's going to be super dope. One of the things I found very strange is the fact that they give you one of pretty much every starting weapon because you can kind of build your own adventure, but the backpack that you have when you first start is so small it takes up almost all of the space. I wonder if there is a way to buy a larger bag to start with. Perhaps that's one of their products. Who knows? Enough of my complaining. That bag is the least of my concern. I am now a Forsaken, and I must do my part for Sylvanas, or whoever is in charge of the Horde at this point. I've honestly lost track of the lore. But I do hope it's Sylvanas. Have you seen her? Mommy, yes. Despite that little outburst, I have been tasked with clearing the undead that aren't the same undead as we are because their brain is no good in the local area. The social implications of this quest applied to a world like ours are very, unsettling to say the least. I then take a break from my slaughter to name my pupperoonie 4 days. It's a reference that goes in tandem with my name. If you figured it out, let me know. I'd love to tell you that I stopped killing the wretched ghouls as soon as I completed the quest, but unfortunately my bloodlust was unquenchable, which is why I stayed here for a solid 30 minutes just killing ghouls and such. It was the character's lore. That's what he does. It wasn't because I like doing it. However, I very much do like doing it. That's what she said. Obviously not to me, I'm playing World of Warcraft, you can connect the dots. And then once I finally got sick of it, at least for the moment, I did head back to turn in the quest, as now I am level 5 or so. A nice addition that this game adds is loot boxes and points on top of your regular vanilla loot. I can't use the dungeon finder because I'm in the hardcore mode, so it's nice that we have a way to still get things like this sword and such, so I can still be mildly powerful as we continue. I'm not sure why, but I keep coming back to killing ghouls. I have no reason to even be in this building at the moment, but I just have to kill kill the ghouls. Back to the main through line, I do have to collect some stuff from these wolves and those bats over in the distance, so I will be killing them en masse. To be completely honest, at this point I was feeling like a god. I was having no issues killing absolutely anything. While I could kill just about anything, what I couldn't do was figure out how to turn in this quest. In all fairness, I was playing without headphones at the time. I thought the game was bugged. I did not realize my inventory was full until it was much too late and too embarrassing to cut out. After restarting the game, I did figure out that it was me who was the problem and not the game. Emptied my inventory and successfully claimed my loot. Loot which included a very nice chest piece, which I immediately equipped. I was then tasked with clearing a local mine of the suspicious spiders that seemed to have spawned from nowhere. I only said it that way so I could add more alliteration into my script. Sally sells seashells down by the seashore because she doesn't understand basic supply and demand. Slaughtering supersized spiders made me way overconfident for more supersized spiders that were waiting inside the mine shaft, and I'm not going to lie, there were red flags all over this going in. One spider wasn't a problem. Me and the hound could dispatch it with no issue whatsoever. However, when there were several spiders coming from all angles, I should have realized the danger in the cave. I initially decided to press forward, being a little bit more cautious, trying not to pull such large groups, but then like 4 came out of nowhere. I was suddenly very outnumbered and starting to take damage for the first time in the run. This wasn't going to be enough to kill me. I very clearly had a hold of the situation. However, I should have taken this as a warning, but instead, I decided that I needed to protect all of my undead friends and venture further in to fully clear the cave, at which point I was massively outnumbered and all of the spiders wanted my throat. Me not realizing I was in the poo-poo river without a paddle decided to try to fight for a bit, which could have been fatal had I waited for a few more seconds before hoofing it out of there. This was my first walk of shame so far. I had no way to beat the enemy and was retreating to a safer zone, which feels very bad because I am a pugnacious little idiot, and I will be a pugnacious little idiot until I die. Being bested by spiders was not in my game plan. But seriously, did you see how much damage the poison did? Like, I was almost dead when I was leaving the cave. After resummoning 4 days, I set back out to the town. I'm going to tell them I killed all of the spiders when I killed some of them, okay? Luckily, the town guard's a bigger coward than I am, so he bought my story and gave me the reward anyway, which led to a bunch of really nice loot, including scrolls that I can use to re-roll. Despite the spider setback, I am becoming a very powerful undead very quickly. I think we can complete this challenge if we keep up this momentum. On my way to a quest where I had to snatch scarlet scarves, I killed a skeleton and that gave me enough experience to level up for another ability. Level 10 in Ascension is huge because it's the first level that you can actually get a passive ability which will augment everything else that you do, as well as getting 1 additional active ability. The active ability I got was Rejuvenation, which is a lesser heal. However, the passive ability I got was what we'd call a steaming pile of dog crap, and I did have what I required to reroll, but unfortunately I'm an idiot and accidentally just took the ability. I am the saddest sad boy. Now, had I known how to use the menus, I would have known I could have re-rolled at any point here. I could have just navigated and fixed my mistake. However, I didn't, so I continued with this quest of stealing scarves from the Scarlet Boys. And if you take a look at it, they are dropping much like I did from my parents' arms onto concrete, or at least I'm assuming that's what happened to me. That was at least until the closest call so far, where a rogue pyromancer started pelting me with fireballs and I was unable to fight back. I was nearly dead before the fight had even begun. But this was less of a walk of shame and more of a run for my life, because there is a very small possibility to make it out if I get hit with even 1 more fireball. I kept spamming my crappy little heal trying to stay alive, and luckily enough I was able to get away from the pyromancers. As soon as I could, I dropped into stealth and decided to change tactics to collect the scarves. It turns out surveying an area before diving into a herd of enemies is a very good idea and increases your survivability. Who would have thought that? I ended up killing even more ghouls, but hear me out. I had to get the things on the ground. It wasn't my fault. They attacked me first, even though they're neutral mobs that can't attack you first. I honestly have no idea why. Something about just taking mobs down with little to no reason is so much fun in World of Warcraft, and I forgot that for the longest time. My mindless indulgence in violence did successfully grant me enough experience to level up again, and I got an ability that didn't really help me too much. Ooh, I instantly re-rolled and got another ability which kind of helps and may give me energy back if I get a critical hit. Energy is an expendable resource that allows me to do things like Sinister Strike, or as I like to call it, the Babago Strike. Disregarding my previous nonsense, it's time for me to fight my way out of this hellhole. And I do, you know I don't need to. We're just doing it because we can, and we're collecting boxes on the way too, so we at least have a purpose this time. Despite being level 11, I have not yet finished the starting area due to all of my mindless acts of violence, but now I'm about to be finished. After collecting my rewards, leveling up some abilities, it's time for me to hunt down the Scarlet Captain. I have the target at my sights. Luckily, I learned from the last interaction with Pyromancers, little fire mage boys, that I need to take them out first, so I used the dog to distract them as I did exactly that. From there, I was able to clean up the mess, including the other person who walked in uninvited. Super duper rude. Luckily for me, this fight wasn't hard at all. I was able to take the captain down, grab the quest object off him, and then move back to collect my reward. Luckily, the reward was just enough to level me up once more, so I get to roll the anxiety cube again. I know it's not a cube, it's got more sides than that, but I'm going to roll it and hopefully get a better ability than last time. I said that knowing that I didn't get a better ability than last time. I got Fire Blast initially and decided to re-roll because of how much I hated it, and ended up getting Single-Minded Fury, which doesn't help me because I'm not using warrior abilities. What an absolute disappointment. While the first one was a bust, I still have another die for another passive ability, which I got Unleashed Fury. While this isn't exactly what I wanted, it will cause my pet to do more damage, which I suppose is helpful in the long run, although I'm not really a big pet guy. Not in WoW, that is. Upon finally leaving the starting area, I found the Gangster Gnome who can help me get more reroll scrolls, which is super appreciated for this challenge. However, I didn't have time to chat, so I moved on, where I found this deranged lunatic who gave me the hardest quest of the run so far. He asked me to collect pumpkins for him, and it was super duper hard to swallow my pride and collect pumpkins when I am a demon slayer, damn it. Once I finally found enough pumpkins, I decided to head towards the apothecary, but then ran into this abomination who also wanted me to gather things. What is with people asking me to gather things? You know what? No, you get too many cinematic transitions because I had to gather things. So I hope that was jarring. I hope that threw you off. I then decided to do that stop motion thing where I remove a bunch of frames so it looks like I'm kind of floating. You know, the thing they do on the TikTok? And then I got a new quest. Finally delivering those pumpkins to the apothecary, I ended up getting levels and quests out the wazoo. It's pronounced with a hua, not just a wa, okay? If you're saying wazoo, you're saying it wrong. This is actually where I figured out how to use reroll scrolls from the menu, so I got rid of the useless passive from earlier and actually got one that is super duper helpful and increases my attack speed and damage done while dual wielding, which is like my whole thing. I then got a level up from turning in one of my bajillion quests, which had led to an even more awesome passive ability, so I am really just hitting 10 for 10. This is not the passive ability. This is terrible. But this is the passive ability. This is Lightning Reflexes, which increases all of my agility by 6%. Agility is my attack stat. That is so good. After doing my little victory dance for free just this once, I went out to continue my quests. I had to collect demon blood from demon doggos, hide from the bats, as well as talons from the zombies? That's just weird. During my latest killing spree, I found this guy hiding in a cabin who happens to be a tailoring trainer, meaning that I can learn how to work with cloth, and then eventually I can even make more bags, so I don't have such terrible storage. Nothing interesting really occurred until I killed another giant bat and gained another level, which led to another new spell. You really don't realize how many spells are in this game until you have to get them at random and keep getting garbage and get more and more disappointed every time. Like this one, I re-rolled and somehow got something worse. Distract only makes it so I make mobs look a different direction. I may get another ability here, which is a passive, and oh my god, that's amazing. This is so freaking good. It increases my critical strike chance by 5%. That's perfect. This game is such a roller coaster of emotions. I'm officially feeling super duper powerful and decided to head into the Deadlands with all the Skelly boys because I had some quests to do over here. Upon killing one, I actually found an additional quest, so I have even more to do now. Collecting skulls, scrolls, scrolls, and everything else of the like. Notably, I also found my first pair of shoulder guards, which are super helpful because that means even more stats, making me even more of a beefy boy. Unfortunately, I was unable to find the quest mobs that I was looking for, so I kinda just gave up at one point and started slaughtering everything in my proximity to get to level 15. Really, the only thing that interrupted my violence was my need to be a tailor, a cutter of cloth if you will, because that actually gives experience too and is getting me closer to my bags. Once I resumed the kill fest, it wasn't too long until I hit level 15, which is one of the most dangerous levels to hit. That's because player versus player is now enabled. Moving on to our first quest for the day, I need to collect a bunch of eggs. You see that dapper gentleman in the distance there only requires the chocolates from the eggs, and the only way to get them is to collect the eggs first. Gotta crack a few eggs to get some chocolates, am I right? However, one of those eggs did decide to turn me into an Easter bunny for some reason, and my dog has never looked hungrier. But shrinking me has only made finding the eggs easier. Now I'm more on their level. You can't stop me no matter what form I am, but I didn't realize that I was about to become an even larger fuzzy animal. That's right, my random move was turning into a worgen. A werewolf for you people who don't play the World of Warcraft. And then the ability I got was called Armed to the Teeth. Are you telling me this isn't a sign? Do you believe in signs? Calm down, Mom. I'm not into druids, I'm just druid curious. I didn't initially realize that this would require prowl, you know, like the tiger version of stealth, and I couldn't use my stealth, so when I did figure that out, it was quite disappointing, but I could just throw away my entire build to try to be this dog guy for the rest of the series. It'd be kind of fun. Despite the fact that I'm in the druid closet, I'm continuing to re-roll my abilities to see if I can find anything better than what I currently have. Unfortunately, I keep getting garbage. I'm not sure what I was doing in this clip. I think I was contemplating trying to become the Wolfman, but none of my abilities work, so I kind of give up on it, but I did find a place that sells bags. I also forgot to show you the clip earlier where I replaced my stupid distract ability from the first episode with arcane missiles. It's okay. I don't plan on using it very much as I don't want to be a caster, but it's cool. It looks neat, right? While I continue to indulge my attention deficit spiral, I did manage to kill enough bats to level up and get a new ability, which was also super not helpful. My luck has gone into the toilet, please God help me. This talent could take 0.2 seconds off a 2-second stun, woohoo! And I know I keep complaining as if I'm having terrible luck, but the truth of the matter is, I'm having fantastic luck on this run. I have another run I've been doing just for funsies off camera sometimes, and it is not nearly as decked out. Like, I melt through these things like butter, but that guy sucks. Once I finally managed to refocus myself, I managed to get to the zone I've been trying to head to for the last 15 minutes, where I have a few objectives, and I noticed these guys doing quests together. If I find someone else to play with, I most certainly will. This looks like a fun time. But for now, I am but a lonely skeleton sandman, and that's okay, because I'm still having a great time. However, this quest is requiring me to pick up some deathweed. I'm gonna be entirely honest and transparent with you. I had a college roommate who sounds like he would be all about this doomweed. Sounds like some hydroponic shit that he'd rant about for days. Despite the memories of self-induced asthma attacks, I also have to kill the undead hedgehogs around here. I couldn't think of the word gnoll, so they just defaulted to evil hedgehogs, okay? Perhaps I've had far too much of this doomweed. That's the real good stuff right there. But collecting herbs and going on a rampage aren't the only two quests I'm on. I also have to collect ichor from all these guys. Is it pronounced ichor? Ichor? I think it's ichor. I could be wrong. Instead of Googling it like a sensible individual, I'm instead going to move to the next quest, which requires me to kill the Papa Gnoll, big old gnoll who's been bossing around the lesser gnolls. That sentence was surprisingly difficult to say. Now that I've done pretty much all of the things those old Dare commercials warned me about, I'm going to go ahead and move to my next quest, which is going to require me to get all sorts of fishy. This quest requires me to collect 5 vile fin scales, and I know, so far everything seems like a bit of a cakewalk, but this could be a very dangerous area as it's easy to get swarmed. Luckily, my name isn't Nicolas Cage, so I do not succumb to the swarm. However, I do get to scream just like Nicolas Cage did. Murlocs, they're everywhere! Oh no! Now that I've exercised the ghost of enthusiasm out of me, I do also have to mention that I found this wonderful rare. His name is Deeb. His damage output wasn't really that impressive, but he's the first thing in like 25 minutes to survive me for more than like 15 seconds. After I downed Deeb, I looted his mangled corpse and found a legendary card. Now this won't help me in this run because I'm already past level 10, but it could help me in the future. A future where I'm dead and I need to do a new run. During the chapter of my life known as Deeb's Downfall, I did get a new level, which led to a new ability. However, this one sucks even worse than the previous. And while I did also get a talent, this talent upgrades a move that not only do I not have, but that I don't want. So we're going 2 for 2 right now. This is as disappointing as when nobody congratulated me for Charlie accidentally saying my name, the famous moist critical.
Sand for days.
But did you see that transition? That makes me feel really good. Watch this, watch this. It's 2 separate scenes. Watch the left and the right. They're two different things. This really isn't that impressive, but I thought of this myself, and I feel really good about it. Now that I've come down off my ego trip, it's time for me to turn in my quest, but I'm gonna do it as a spicy little wolf man, because I have a feeling I'm not gonna get to use this form too much. I also thought maybe if I'm in wolf form, it will give me, like, druid moves to use inside the wolf form, but I was incredibly wrong. It just gave me garbage again. I don't want the aspect of the monkey upgrade. I still don't have the aspect of the monkey. But because fortune favors the fools, I managed to get another scroll for another reroll, getting rid of another bad move that I've never even used once in this video, because why would I tell you what Drain Soul does? I'm never going to use it. Speaking of things I'm never going to use, here's another talent that I'm going to reroll at a later date. There's no reason discussing it, but I will be able to get rid of Drain Soul for now, and I hated that thing, and I got Titan's Grip. Now that's interesting. Titan's Grip allows you to use a 2-hand weapon in one hand, and I'm all about that dual-wielding goodness. I'm also all about cutting up corpses and cutting up cloth, so on my way to cut up more cloth and learn more about being a tailor, I decided to cut up some corpses and leveled up again. This time I got the Atal Al Totem, which shoots a little bit of air at things. It hits them with a little punch of air, like here you go. But I also got a new talent. Getting this new talent, which was an upgrade for a move that I do not have, made me want to defenestrate my computer. In case you didn't know, defenestration is the act of throwing someone or something out of a window. Then I decided to calm down by doing what I came here for, which is working on my tailoring, and that's one of the things I always really loved about World of Warcraft. If you get sick of combat or the stupid RNG of these rolling of the die, you can just come over here and work on your cloth for a while. I ended up realizing I had another scroll for a reroll and decided to do such with another talent. This time I was actually kind of lucky and got Malice, which is going to increase the amount that I critical strike. I was then tasked with taking down some scarlet sausages, and I'm not sure why I called them sausages. But on my way there, I did have to fight the local militia who decided I was their enemy, which was very nice actually, because it led to me discovering another rare. I love fighting rares. They have a higher chance of good loot and they give me a whole bunch of experience when I kill them. And you know I kill those rares good. I kill them real good, I do. Unfortunately, this rare was as disappointing as Anthem. You remember that piece of crap game? It was bad. That was an odd segue to me sizzling these scarlet sausages, and boy do I love alliteration. I was trying to figure out during editing how to make this combat more entertaining, because it's really one-sided and not scary at all, so I decided every time I kill a scarlet sausage, I'm just gonna zoom in 10%. And he's gotta eat that booty like groceries. Speaking of booty and groceries, let's get this camera all the way out of my ass and move forward to the next quest. In case you're wondering why my logo is now suddenly and abruptly blocking part of the screen, it's because I had a break in between sessions here and I forgot to turn off the world chat, which got a little too flavorful for a video I want on YouTube. After censoring the server's population, I did level up and find pack tactics, but I don't have any combo moves, so it's not super duper helpful. In case you're curious, combo moves use combo points, which are built by rogue moves. It's a whole thing. After explaining to this man that the Scarlet Crusade has been dealt with, he gave me another level, which I used promptly to get a whole new move. Every fiber in my being was ready to feel disappointment, but what instead I felt was confliction, because Feral Charge would be wonderful if I was able to be the werewolf guy. I just don't have any other moves to go along with it. Even more druid curious than I was before, I roll for my next move, and unfortunately it's Healing Light, which is a terrible talent that I don't need and I'm going to promptly re-roll. I did end up re-rolling my stealth because I'm not gonna hide, I am no coward, and got Rupture, my first combo move. Shortly after, I decided I was a little sick of the dreary environment and decided to teleport over to Orgrimmar. However you want to say it, and I remembered I get bonus scrolls because I passed level 20, meaning I can reroll a whole bunch of abilities. I first decided to roll the dice in one of my crappy talents and got another crappy talent which only infuriated me, so I decided to switch to rerolling actual active abilities and got something garbage. I mean amazing! I got something amazing. Crimson Tempest is another one of those combo moves that does a bleed to everything around me. I then decided to reroll that crappy talent, feeling like I might actually have some good luck this time, and surprisingly enough, it was still garbage. Did I surprise you? Did you think it was gonna be something good? Did I trick you? Did you get goofed? That led me to rerolling another 2 times, and on the second time, I actually did get something that was really helpful. Now my offhand will do even more damage. But I couldn't quite leave Orgrimmar yet, as I had to ask the owl, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? He did not respond. With everything that I needed to do in Orgrimmar over, I decided to head to my favorite favorite place in all of the early game, and that is Razor Hill. I have no idea why, but I freaking love this place. It's so many happy memories. I also remembered to finally turn off world chat so I don't feel bad about showing it anymore, which means I can get my logo off the screen. You all see that enough as it is. There he is. There's my favorite orc. Give me a little bit of that special. Give me a little bit of that That orc is the best plug because he hits you in triplicate. After chilling out with my homie for a while, I decided it was time to collect some flowers and move on with the actual quests, where I was hired to eat the soldier. You mean beat the soldiers? No, I know what I said. I knew I was fighting the Navy, but I will never get used to that seaman taste. After pulverizing the puny pirates, I finally have earned yet another level up, and hopefully this level won't be so disappointing. Ladies and gentlemen, please brace yourself for some more disappointment. I have my fist ready to punch my screen. You know I wouldn't actually damage my own property because I'm upset at a video game. That would be immature, although it might be kind of funny. When I finally arrived at the captain's quarters, I found that somebody had already slew him, so I had a dance party instead. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a little old lady. I was working on my knitting while he was gone, and as soon as he arrived, I decided it was time to put those knitting utensils that I don't remember the specific name for through his skull. I even stole his car keys while I was here. Good luck starting that inherited Alfa Romeo without these, you little nerd. Is nerd even an insult anymore, or have we all as a collective decided that we are nerds because it's just what it is now? After I collected some leaves, I was trying to figure out how to make travel from here all the way to the south part of the map more interesting. I decided I was just gonna scroll through it all. Just keep in mind, there's somebody out there who's not actually watching the video, they're just, listening to it in the background, and they are so confused right now. Their name's probably Joe. Once I got sick of scrolling through those quarter frames, I decided to just do the whole TikTok thing again, and then make it even more interesting by doing it as a wolf. I mean, it was vaguely interesting the first time. I think I overdid it. When I got to the troll village, I was starting to collect all of the quests that I could find, and it really kind of boiled down to that they wanted me to destroy a small village off the coast, as well as collect a whole bunch of snot from a crab. Quick, stop whatever you're doing to admire this man's hat. He is an astute gentleman, and he needs to be appreciated. By the way, I swim really quick because at one point I was bitten by a radioactive Aquaman. I know I should have mentioned this earlier, but I am a fast fishy boy. A fast fishy boy who now must bully crustaceans for their snot juice and stuff because some random tall green guy with tusks told me to. Now my demon doesn't swim as fast as I do, so I was kind of going at this solo while my demon was trying to catch up, and I realized how much DPS the demon actually does. It's pretty incredible. In case you didn't know, that stands for dollops per second. Dollop is a measurement of damage. Duh. Moving on to my next objectives, I first had to slay the local raptors, and it was about to be a dark, dark day for them, as well as for the tigers on the island, and then finally I decided to finish off this brutal massacre with the entire village population. Some may say it matched the same population size as Malaysia. It's been confirmed. Trolls hate Malaysia. I'm sorry, it's just how it is. Also, after that incident where I realized how much damage I didn't do against the crustaceans without my demon, I decided to see how much the demon would do by itself, and it turns out it's probably more than I do. That demon frickin' smacks. So I just started sending him to kill things by himself. He doesn't need me. He's his own independent, unholy being. That's when Sanford Days and 4 Days both decided to end this stupid little island and crush their leader underneath our combined feet. In case you didn't know, that's a total of 6 feet. She's exactly how many feet I say I am tall on my driver's license, although it is a lie. I am 5 foot 11 inches tall, and I have to tell you, I feel robbed every single day. Despite my little rant about not being quite 6 foot, I am happy to return to the troll village, where I believe I'll be handsomely rewarded for completing every single quest they had. I then went to the chief with the bright red mohawk, happy to report that I blew up Malaysia. He cried tears of joy and also gave me a whole bunch of levels, as did everyone else in the village because they freaking love me for doing that. I then started doing my rolls, and one of the rolls I got was actually kind of helpful. Not the one that's on screen now, but the next one, because this one makes my intelligence increase my hit rating, which means I'll miss less. It's a good thing all around. I then found another scroll deciding to re-roll the previous crap, only to get more crap that I don't want. Because this other thing was healing related, and I am certainly not a healer, I had to reroll again, and luckily on this next reroll I actually managed to get something that can help me. It increases two-handed weapon damage. I wonder what I could possibly be plotting. Diabolical schemes aside, I think it's time to move back to Razor Hill so I can prepare to leave this zone permanently, and would you look at that? I now suddenly have a two-handed weapon in my main hand and a one-handed weapon in my left hand. That's one more hand total than I'm supposed to be able to do. Thank you, Titan's Grip. I promptly get another level after turning over the eggs I stole from Jurassic Island. I then get to roll the dice again, and I just already knew it was going to be garbage. I wasn't even surprised at this point, but I was feeling awfully powerful, so I decided to go kill some razor quills. Usually I would cut out out a lot of the prolonged combat and leave it out of here, but I just wanted to show you how much of an absolute ass kicker this character has become. I've gone from being so afraid that I'm going to die from spiders, or 4 people at one given time, to raiding an entire Quillboar camp at the whim of it. I'm not even sure that's how you use that saying, but I went through this entire thing barely dipped below half health. I felt like an absolute beast. But that may be where the beast ends, because now I'm moving to a more difficult area, and I have seen some PvP in this area. I've seen a few people die. I'm not sure why the Alliance are over here, but they certainly are. Maybe I'll survive, maybe I'll die, but that's all for now. Until next time, I'm Sanford Days, I'm Course, and I get everywhere. Bye-bye now. I love cheese.